Hey everybody, Michael, Valerie, Don, Sergio, Nikki, Dan, Andrew, excuse me, John, Goose, Wrongamer, man, you're not usually here on the Tuesday stream. Good to see ya. Paul, Allen, glad to have everybody. Welcome, welcome. Hey, so if you're new here, you've never been on the stream before, make sure that you hit the little green thing right here. It's kind of my corner over here. Make sure you hit that little green thing. It's my logo. It makes you a subscriber to the channel. That way you can chat just a few seconds later. And while you're at it, you might as well click the bell down below that sets up alerts. And if YouTube thinks that you are going to watch this live stream, like when I go live, if YouTube thinks you'll watch it, it'll give you an alert for it. And you can know when I go live. I go live every single morning, and then Tuesdays at 5, which is right now, for 30 minutes of awesome, 30 MA. And what do we have in the background here? We've got the World's Fair Park. Back in 1982, Knoxville, Tennessee had the World's Fair. And this is what's left of the World's Fair Park right here. We got the Knoxville Convention Center, is the building right there, that building. The tower over whichever, that way, is the Sun Sphere, the tower in the middle there. And the amphitheater there, and the trees are kind of turning colors. This is this time of year. Trees are starting to change, starting to be pretty out here in the beautiful Knoxville, Tennessee. Yeah. You were there with your parents? I was there. My memory is standing on Cumberland Avenue at a phone booth. Anybody remember a phone booth? We're standing at a payphone booth, and I was eating a hot dog, standing there on Cumberland Avenue. So that's what I remember of the World's Fair. Don't remember much else. There used to be a bunch of buildings right at the bottom of the screen here, right kind of right where I am, overlaid. There used to be some buildings right there, and they've torn those down. They had exhibit halls and stuff, and the convention center used to be different. They kind of, yeah, that's all different. So anyway, that used to be exhibit halls too. Campus is like, if you wonder where the campus is from me, from this picture, it's like right behind me. Like that's where Neyland Stadium and Thompson Bowling Arena and all the fun stuff is down there. Hey Dan, hey Nikki, Billy, Kimberly Moore, Randy, Alan, welcome everybody. So, 30 minutes of awesome. What's on tap? Well, we've got CPI coming up. We got PPI coming up in the morning at 8:30. So if you're not prepared for some volatility, watch out. There's probably going to be some volatility, PPI, first thing in the morning. Then on Thursday morning, we got CPI coming in hot. And then we've got earnings ramping up. We got Q3 earnings. We've got financials kicking off. We've got, I believe, Citibank and JP Morgan this week. Let me pull that up really quickly. Find my, dang it, where'd it go? I had that just a minute ago and I clicked it off. One of these windows is not like the others because it has what I'm looking for. Man, talking about be prepared. Horrible scout. I just goofed this all up. Let's see. Where'd it go? Gosh darn it. If you don't succeed, if at first you don't succeed, open a new tab. And Discord.com. All right. Give me a second. I'll pull it up. Well, that's cool. I messaged myself apparently. All right. And pin messages and earnings and open, and could have gone to X, I guess. There we go. Earnings right here. Make them bigger. Yeah, so we have Domino's Pizza, Citigroup, BlackRock. I guess JP Morgan's probably next week. So Citigroup really kicking us off here with the financials. So we'll see how this pans out as we go into Friday. PNC Bank, Wells Fargo. This ought to be interesting. Ought to be interesting. So we do have a ton of earnings and CPI coming out Thursday. So this is Q3 earnings ramping up starting on Thursday. People getting a little bearish on me. I'm not sure what the deal there is, why people are so bearish, but it's not looking like the most bearish situation that I've seen. I don't know about you, but I guess cohort out there, another guru calling this a giant squeeze and expects a giant, fizzle. I don't know. I think the correction is done. I don't think everything is burning down right now. So, try to turn it off. Apparently, I closed Discord. I don't know how. Whatever. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to the calendar. So today, Tuesday, October 10th, and I don't think this is the current calendar. There we go. Technological difficulty. I rebooted this computer and everything's freaking different. Stupid Windows updates. Anyway, restored all the tabs, but not all the tabs, I guess. So we have core PPI coming out 8:30 in the morning. Potential market mover. Then we have FOMC member Waller speaking. And tomorrow is the minutes. I thought the minutes were today for some reason. I guess I was getting my speakers confused with my minutes. Minutes are tomorrow. Excuse me for announcing that in Discord. Minutes are tomorrow. I thought that was today, tomorrow. And then on Thursday, CPI, unemployment claims, and all those earnings getting ramping up here. And then we have on Friday more earnings. We have consumer sentiment, inflation, and whew, it's going to be a crazy one. We've got some, glad to have you, Chris, Deb, Alan. We've got some volatility events this week. For those of you in green light income alerts, I don't like to trade into volatility events. And these red ones, especially PPI, CPI, that's some volatility events that I don't like to trade into. All right, call me crazy. Conservative strategy that I've won 62 wins in a row with no losses ever on the books. And you think I want to trade into something I know that's going to have volatility? Not really. So I'm just kind of paused on that and probably through at least late Thursday or Friday. So that's what to expect when you're expecting. Anyway, yeah, so CPI, PPI, Q3 earnings, we've kind of covered those main topics that we've already hit there. So circle back around, and all trading involves a substantial risk of loss. I've got multiple disclaimers up. Past performance, not necessarily indicative of future results. I may never get another genius lucky prediction right again, all right? I may never do it. This presentation intended to be informational, educational, fun, and a little bit of entertainment. It is not a recommendation to buy or sell anything, financial instrument, or otherwise, all right? Don't buy stocks, don't buy cryptos, don't buy options, don't buy futures, don't buy Forex, don't buy any of those financial instruments, bonds. We'll talk about that in the VIP next week. Don't buy that stuff. Don't sell that stuff. It's risky, all right? You can lose money, substantial risk of loss. But if you need personal financial advice, you need to hire and consult a financial advisor. That's not me. I don't do that. I'm just an entertainer when we come down to it, all right? Anyway, if you trust me, you like what I say, you want to know, you want to support me, the link is in the description. It's like $5 for 3 months to get started. And, we can go from there as we build trust, me and you. All right. So we've talked about the CPI. We talked about the PPI. We talked about Q3 earnings. We'll get to your requests in a minute. Let me give you a brief market update, a quick rundown where we are. And I showed this chart off this morning. I posted this on the platform formerly known as Twitter. It's kind of like the artist formerly known as Prince, the platform formerly known as Twitter. We've got key resistance. All right, this is key. Right there. We were coming up strong. I do strongly feel that we're going to see some sort of pullback. Now, did we hit it today? Did we get up there and find that top today? When we look down in the smaller time frames, we got close. We came right up in here. The bottom of the key resistance was right there at 4,400. We need to get up and above it to clear it. All right, key resistance to clear. I mean, that's why it says that. All right, don't be ridiculous. That's why it says it. I mean, it's very obvious. And this simplified daily close, we're right here. We don't see that spike up and reverse. Now, I do kind of expect that we may not be able to clear this on the first attempt. May come up here and hit it and pull back. All right. It's kind of my expectation. I think we may come back, visit the roadmap line one more time before we can break on out. The market loves to freak everybody out. Everybody thinks it's going to be a fake rally. Then, oh my gosh, it's the bear. Oh my gosh, we're going down to a lower low, and it gets everybody bearish again, freaks everybody out, and then we go ripping off and probably do this. And that might take us through the end of the year. Now, as I was also talking about this morning, we are in a very bullish period of the year. Right here. We are in the most bullish 3-month period of the year right now. You can see this starts almost the middle of October. What are we? We're on the 10th of October. Right now. This kicks off and we go on an epic run. This is a 20-year average, all right? 20 years aggregated right on here. So historically, averaging this, taking all the years, 2018 pullback and everything, put them all together, we typically rally in this last quarter. Some call it the Santa rally. Well, it rallies right on through Santa most of the time. There you go. And you're like, well, what about big tech? Big tech usually does the same thing, except November we take a break. So we get a little excited, take a little break, and then we get excited again. All right. Then we go into January, February, March chop. And then we have March to April. That may be the most bullish straight up period of time in a year. We had that this year. It doesn't have to happen, but that is a pretty bullish period right there. So it shows up on the S&P and it shows up on the Nasdaq. So you got that to look forward to coming up next year. But right now, we're looking at this right here. So don't get overly bearish right now. Seasonality is on our side. I mean, there's something to be said about all this, all right? I don't believe it till I see it in the price, but the price is set to do this, all right? We may see that ramp. I mean, we got to wait for confirmation, but it sure does look like this is what's going to play out, all right? Don't get too caught up in anything, any narrative going on. Now, VIX, we also see we've been on a VIX spike, and VIX tends to plummet out through December and actually finds the low into January. So we're entering a period of lower volatility. Historically, this is again averaged over 20 years. Everybody got it? Get it? Got it? Good. All right. Moving on. So that's S&P, that's Nasdaq, that's VIX, all in a nutshell, and it lines up with what we're actually seeing on this price chart. Beautiful when a plan comes together. We'll see if it actually happens now. All right. I'm pretty long. I have to admit, I'm fairly long. And if we're kind of following this, like if you take Nasdaq and you overlap it, take this year's Nasdaq, overlap it with 1999. I don't have this chart up where I can show it off. I've seen it lots of places posted online. You can find it on X. You can find it on Zero Hedge. You can find it all over the place. Look at the 1999 analog. And so far we've been, barely diverged between the Nasdaq in 1999 and the Nasdaq this year. And if we play out the 1999 end of the year, we're about to go on a massive rally. All right. Looks pretty good so far. Fingers crossed we carry it on through. All right. Let's go hit a few other highlights here. So S&P did spike up into this gap resistance zone, and we found a little resistance. Imagine that. I mentioned it this morning that we may find some resistance, and guess what? We found some resistance, almost in the smack dab middle. We'll probably come up all the way and test the top of that, maybe tomorrow. We could get a little correction tomorrow. We were kind of excited today, and that was on the back of 2 excited days before that, so we may take a little break tomorrow before we get some resumption and try to come up here and break this. Of course, we could just drift on up. I don't know. We'll see what happens, all right? I don't have... Even though I've got a big bag of unicorn dust right here, I don't have like a working magic crystal ball that tells me perfectly what we're going to do. I just know the probabilities. And after 3 big strong days, we may take a break for a day. Of course, that may have been the break this afternoon. We kind of spiked out at about noon and then took a break the rest of the day. You see, 12 o'clock, and then we were just kind of like, let's pull back a little bit. So no super big damage done. You know, I've heard other people say, oh gosh, you know, we came up right, we stopped right at the resistance. Now, there is something to look at on ES, something to be cognizant of and aware of, a pattern that I want to discuss really quickly. We'll have to zoom this out just a little bit and get it to fit on the screen. I need to remove some of the fib lines. That thing needs to go over there. And right here, something to be aware of. I'm going to use the 3-point tool right here off the low. Go to that first high, this pullback, and we came up just shy of the 100% right here. Now, if this was a corrective move, and you're like, JT, what corrective move? Which move? Let's grab this right here. Something I don't usually do during 30 minutes of awesome. Right here. A, this was the B, and this would be the C right there. If A equals C, and this is a corrective move up off this low that we had right back here on October 4th, we'll know pretty quickly because we're going to go right back down the tubes. If we come up here and make a lower high, that's like the warning, all right? When we saw that happen right over here on September 13th, that's when I like sold everything practically that I was long and just waited. If we see that again on the smaller time frame here in ES, it's like a warning that we're going to go lower low. It's not going to be nearly as big a move, so we're just going to go lower low, lower than what we had right back here on the 4th. That's still sitting out there, still a potential, all right, just because of the proportion that we came up. Do I think that's the way it's going to happen? Not so sure. But it is sitting out there. It's a potential, and it's on the chart. I just wanted to throw that out there, that we don't have the all clear yet. We didn't clear all the resistance, okay? We didn't get above the gap. So there's a few things working against us, but for the most part, this looks pretty darn bullish. Pretty darn bullish. All right. S5FI, we may see that do the double dip thing. I mentioned that this morning. We got a strong up and rejected a little bit. We may do a double dip. We might do it. All right. So just be careful. Be aware. We almost always, when we're coming back out of being single digits on S5FI, stocks above the 50-day moving average in the S&P 500, almost always we do a double dip and come right back down and test it. All right, almost always. And this one came up, double dipped, and then took off. Even this one came up, first dip, second dip, that one triple dip, you know, and then took off. This one didn't get out on the single digits quite before we came up back to 50%, and then we went on down. So almost always, as I said, not always. And before that, it was like a long time before we got down here. And that one didn't exactly do a double dip, but it did come up and dip one more time and then took off. And then shot to the top in just a few days. I mean, look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days to get back to the top. Wild ride. And that was 2020. So there you go. Things to look at. S5FI. There's also a NDFI. Nasdaq stocks above the 50-day. Nasdaq itself still looking pretty strong. Didn't quite test into that resistance above us, but this one's looking a little stronger. Russell, still not sure. That was a good strong candle today. I want to see continuation up out of this above these candle highs. That's what I need to see. I need to see that continue and get higher on Russell. Oil, it just kind of took a pause today. That was a nice strong bounce yesterday. Today, just taking a resty. May double dip, right back down, get a lower low, possibly touch the roadmap line. Not sure. It kind of just grazed the top of my target area. I mean, we did that before. That could be all we get this time. If we're going to break on up above the 618 here in 90, we're probably heading up to 98, possibly 103 on the next run. Probably break above this orange resistance box on the next run. I did buy one contract of UCO. I am long one. Gold looks like it could be a bounce today, just kind of taking a doji resty, little red doji. Doesn't even, like, you can't even hardly see that red little thing, sucker right there. Little red doji. Bitcoin, eh. All I gotta say is meh. I don't like that pattern. That looks like it could go lower. We get below the roadmap line, we're going probably tips the odds that we're going lower low. As long as we're above the roadmap line, which is the orange line here, and if you want that line on your chart, link is in the description down below. It's like $5. That's what I was talking about. But right there, above it is bullish, but not getting above the resistance is not bullish. And Ethereum looks like it's about to reach down and get the target. Been waiting on this since back here in September. Doesn't have long to go. Doesn't have far to go. We can just get a nice spike down, clear it out, and then turn everything bullish. That'd be awesome. Dollar continuing its little downtrend. This is like an echo of this correction over here. And is it gonna find support and turn higher again? Or do we break on down and come back to the roadmap line? Not sure. It's been since August since we were down here. We may come visit again before we do the final push, or if it doesn't hold support there, we may turn on down. So I kind of do expect a visit up here, but in the face of new information, gotta stay up to date. So right now, expecting support to hold here. If it doesn't, we're probably coming to the roadmap line. If that doesn't hold, we're probably going lower low. That's the expectations on dollar. And I have the morning monster list up. Let's pull up the red list where we have a few more futures, and then we'll get to requests. Now, requests, when I get to there, remember, please be kind to your fellow watchers and subscribers. Please request one ticker at a time. Give somebody else a chance to fire before you go again. All right. Request one. Let me, give somebody else a chance to go. Then you can request another one. So, gasoline. Oh, right down below the target. Beautiful. Out to the 1272. We may extend down to $2. That's actually pretty encouraging. We may see a push on down to 210 roughly. So, heating oil, diesel came back to the roadmap line, finding a little support there. Kind of expect that one to push on down just a little bit more too. Remember, these are futures prices, not retail prices. So we do have resistance up here at 325, but I kind of expect us to go down and fully test that orange box. We came up a little shy right there on Friday. May see it dip one more time. Natural gas actually trying to break out. A little bit unexpected. Trying. We saw a little volatility today. I mean, just a little bit. There was another pipeline sabotaged. You didn't see that news for natural gas. I'm cautious though. That looks like we're arcing and gonna come back down. Do we hold the roadmap line on the retest? This is the likely thing we're gonna do is come right back down here. Do we hold that and hold the box? Or do we break back in the box and head back down to the bottom? So if it's a fake breakout, we'll break back in and come back to the bottom. If we can hold that and turn higher again, as soon as we break above this, it's time to get long to your teeth because we're probably going on up. So there you go. And we touched on gold, touched on silver. That one came up way shy. Gold actually got down to the target, but silver came up way shy of the target. That's kind of bullish, actually, silver. Or indicative that we got more correction to go. I'm not sure which one it is. Copper still looks pretty bearish. Held support so far. If we get below that, though, watch out. Probably going on down to about 275. 285, 290. Somewhere in this vicinity down here. Lumber. Anybody cares about lumber, you can ask me. And that kind of wraps it up. We've hit crypto. We've hit things. So now everything's fair game. Pretty much, I don't have options prices, but I have prices on equities, futures, Forex, cryptos. If I can pull it up in a chart, I'll cover it for you. Now, 4 things don't typically follow my patterns. Low price stuff, under $10. China stuff. Biotech pharma. and leverage stuff. All right. Those are the 4 things that don't typically follow the patterns, which means I can give you a guesstimate on what it might do, but it might not do it. All right. So don't hold my feet to the fire. So, I mean, you can if you want to, but those are the 4 things that tend to be less reliable. TLT. Well, say it got to the first target. Second target is down here. Where's the bottom? I don't know. Maybe down here at 81.50. So we blasted right on through. It looks like we were going to hold it, and then we blasted right on through, came back up. We may take one more trip down here to 81. And 70 could be below that. So maybe like, well, TLT's never been down here before. Well, let's zoom out a little bit. Let's take a trip back in time. And we have found a long-term bottom right here around 82. So 82 may be the number. All right. Look right here. That level right there. Look where we get. Right over here. Look at this. Looky. Touch there. Kind of touch there. Almost touched there. Took a big run up. And we've come almost right back down. So 82 is a key support. We get below that, we may be taking a bigger trip down. Just be careful. All right. That's treasury bonds. This doesn't go all the way back to the 70s. So we can't see the last time that we were raising treasuries like crazy. All right. All right. Moving on. ANET. Dang, I can't type. So ANET right up to the 1618. Do I expect any more right now? Not really. That's kind of the pattern. If that was enough recharge to go higher, what do I expect? Maybe 204, 212, possibly 207, somewhere in there. Maybe we're starting to get a little out front of the skis until we get a bigger correction here. May need a little bigger correction to keep pushing higher. Now that could work. Could push us incrementally higher. Then we get another pullback and another push. But it's been a while since we got one of these bigger pullbacks. July, in fact. So let's be careful on ANET. Looks like we're probably pushing the upper limits on the move right now. UPS looks like a complete pile of garbage. Probably going down to 144. The company is not a pile of garbage, but that chart is a pile of garbage. Probably wants to reach down to 144. Pep, I covered this morning briefly. Another hot steaming pile of dropping garbage. That's a downtrend until we get back above, way up here. All right. Just remember, until we get back above that roadmap line, we are in a downtrend, and this can just keep on extending lower. Maybe like, well, where's the bottom? Well, the bottom could be way the fudge down there. All right. So be careful trying to pick the bottom. If we correct that move up right there, it could be all the way down here at 130. Could be all the way down here at 120. From that COVID low at 102 to that recent high in May up there at 196, the correction would be right back down here. Be careful. All right. SPDR. I don't think that I either did SPDR. I typed that SPDR. I don't see a SPDR. Were we typing wrongomer? Trying to type SPY. It's just the same as SPX. CBOE. Yeah, that's right up to the right at the extension. That correction right there. We were right up the 1618. Could we go for the 272, 183? Yes, we could. Be careful. It doesn't have to, and it probably needs a retrace. Right? If we go for that 183, probably gonna come back pretty hard. So be careful. Be careful. CBOE. FNV. That's just choppy sideways, nasty, gnarly. What are you trying to take advantage of? I mean, it's not going anywhere. Hasn't gone anywhere. We're in a giant box. That's the range. Can you make money from 112 to 160? Sure. Is that the kind of thing I trade? No. I mean, look, the range, it's been in that range, gosh, since COVID. The market's done all sorts of things, and this has done nothing since COVID. Be careful. XOP was what you're asking for? There you go. Looks like a potential market roadmap bounce right there. I'm just here to give you a cold dose of reality. If you don't agree with what I said, that's cool. Trade it. See if you make money. Come back and tell me I was completely wrong. I'd be glad to hear that. This is like a 3-wave retrace right into the roadmap line. Potentially going to break higher. The aggressive entry was like yesterday. And conservative entry is going to be when we clear this right here, up here at 151. Looking for 160 and 168 up there above that. That's XOP for you. I mean, it's pretty nice. This was on the roadmap, market roadmap watch list for the week. So, HD, Home Depot. I gotta go buy some insulation. That's a lower high. And let's just clear some stuff off here. And that target hangs out up there. But at this point, Home Depot knows how to wreck a good pattern. This had a great pattern coming off the lows back here. And it was really nice. Had a great start. And then failed to break out. And then went sideways. And has just been a crap chart ever since. So right here, we came up. We stopped at the 1618. And unfortunately, this makes it look like we're going to get continuation lower. I mean, 786 is where we stop. 1618, 70, or 618, and the 786 right there. God, I can't talk today. Keep saying the wrong numbers. Anyway, right down here, 270, possibly 254 would be the downside. And that's why the arrow is hanging out right there. We turned down. I was expecting it to hold the 618. We actually came up to the 786. Turned down, broke below that. And I would watch it. Watch out very closely. This can just flash right down there. All right. The game about cooking. I make cooking references. I mean, I make all sorts of. I make references about everything. Just depends on what comes into my mind. It's kind of. Ask the boss. She's been trying to figure out how my mind works for almost 30 years. Gets entertaining sometimes. Holics. That's a bunch of crap. I mean, look, that. Why do you want to mess with that? What? When you pull up that chart and you say, man, that makes me want to get into that. What makes you want to mess with that? I mean, that's a serious question. You know, I'm willing to, if you're going to tell me, Dan, let me know. Puts, I mean, you got $10 maybe. And the bottom's right there, top's right there. You got a, what, 15-point range? 20-point range? 25-point range, 24-point range. 60 to 84, 24. 15 up from here, 10 down from here. I don't know. I mean, and then if the market's going to go higher, what do you think this is going to do? Probably drift with it, at least back to the top of the range. So be careful. I mean, they beat on earnings. They make a little bit of money, it looks like. It's not like a horrible company. They just their stock's just not awesome. So price of sales of 4. I don't know what the heck's going on here. That looks crazy. All right, moving on. Google. Upside target, please. Resistance right there. 145, 154, 174, 199. That's the ladder. That's got to beat 145, then it's got to beat 154, then it's got to get to 174, and then 199. It's actually pretty high probability that we do this at this point. It's like 70%, 65 to 70% chance we're going to get to 174. I mean, there's a chance we turn down here, but that little poke up, 52-week high today, looking pretty positive. Then we'll probably do this and that. It looks pretty good to me. I mean, Apple got the resistance right there. I'll just hit some of the fangs before we move on here. And stopped running the resistance. That had a trend change alert for me on yesterday morning. It's probably going to go on a several week. You know, the thing about the trend change, it can last a week. It can last like 9 months. But it fired off a trend change from bearish to bullish. So it's probably going to be, you know, at least a week or so. I mean, that's already a week. So if the market tips bullish, this thing probably going to head on up into this 205, 214, possibly up to the next fib line up there around 220. I am long like 2 shares of Apple. All right. And then MSFT bounced off the roadmap line. Resistance right there. Those highs and this resistance right here. We get above that. You know, this one was a little red today. So we can get above that 381, possibly 401 on the upside. For the next move would be my targets. And then Netflix, sell that requested. This one, having trouble getting back above that roadmap line. Not so sure there. If it can do it, we've got resistance at that swing high right there. And then 515, possibly 554. It may not giddy up and go until the earnings right here coming up. Is that next week? Yeah, next week. Next Wednesday. We'll talk about that more next week as we get a little more data, a little closer. You know, other favorites here. We got to figure out how to put Tesla in the FANG. Yeah. Instead of FANG, call it TANG. I don't know. Yes, there's no F anymore. It's not Facebook. It's Meta. So I don't know how you combine those letters. Anyway, Tesla tried. It's got this resistance up here. Looks pretty bullish. I'm long TSLL. It's not going yet. It might. We'll see. We had that resistance at 299 up here. May go revisit. It's been a gnarly correction ever since we did that. Still long. I'm up like 100%. So not bad, but it's not going. It's just kind of chugging. Of course, the market's just kind of chugging, not going either. So then we have Meta. Taking a diversion for requests for a second. Meta about to break out. That can be very powerful. And it doesn't have earnings for a while. That's a potential breakout there. Resistance right there. We get above that. And hello. This thing, man. Look at this. Watch this. We go. Pull that down to, where's the low? 464. Oop. I messed that up. I don't know what I clicked. Gonna remove that, so I quit clicking on it. I'm gonna remove that, so I quit clicking on it. So 464, possibly 567. I mean, that's a pretty good move. And we're in the zone where if we can break up above that 786 level, think it's pretty likely. It's like becomes the 65, 70% likely we're going to move right up there. Kind of like the Apple deal. Right there. These are looking pretty bullish. Amazon, AMZN. That one also. That one needs to clear 137, but probably get 151, possibly 159. And then when you zoom out and look at the bigger correction that we possibly could be wrapping up here, from that high to that low, could be on the path to 238, possibly 318. There's a lot of stuff looking pretty bullish. If it can maintain these setups. So, all right, AVGO got a pretty good pullback and didn't quite touch the roadmap line, unfortunately. Rallying back up. That's the highest high. We came up to the 70 or the 618 right there. Need to get above 898 and then 961 and 1012. I was trying to think of how to say that. Most numbers are not quadruple digits. So, all right. Did Netflix LNG? Potentially bounced off the roadmap line. The bigger pattern has a bigger gnarly pattern here. We're just getting up where we could go to 195. When we look at this smaller pattern, we may do another correction before we can get out of this. We may find resistance right at the prior high. Pull back again before we can get busted out to go to 195. INTC, Intel's been looking pretty good. Pretty good. We did another pullback, held above the roadmap line. Resistance right up here at 37.70, 41, 44, and we do have that prior high to contend with where we kind of rejected before, right around 40. If we can get above that, 41, 44. SLV kind of briefly touched on silver, but the correction is just not there yet. I like to look at the futures over the SLV, the ETF, because you got a more complete picture. You saw how gappy SLV was? Well, this doesn't have all that gap in it. Right now, this is not the most bullish setup. All right, we're below this wedge bullcrap, and we didn't complete the full wedge. And this extension right here comes from this distance right here. We didn't complete that. That leaves it open for a question. If we can break back above the roadmap line, that turns us more positive, then we're gonna have to beat this high and this high. This consolidation right there, we're gonna have to beat that to go higher. Long term, still bullish, 2025. Short term, not so sure. All right, not so sure between here and say the end of the year. What's gonna happen? Could just spike down in reverse. That'd be beautiful. That would clear it all up. If we just kind of mess around until the end of the year, I don't know. We'll see. All right. Right now, silver less than clear. It mucked up a really nice pattern when we did this breakdown. And when we did this breakdown right here, I kind of warned about it on the Morning Monster. So, all right. That's silver spots. I'm still long spot. Still hasn't broken out. This one hasn't shown a whole lot of conviction today or yesterday or the day before. Just kind of sitting, waiting. Like, what's up? Let's go, spot. Go, spot, go. My target is up here at 195, possibly 213. We got to break above that spike up and where we rejected. Breaking out right there. Like that guy right there. Got to get above that guy right there. That guy right there. That candle right there. We got to get above that thing to go higher. So that's the resistance. We get above it, odds are we're going to 195. We don't, for whatever reason, we just stay sideways. That's long as we're in the box, sideways is the game. I mean, that's it until we can break above there. XOP did that one. SPX. So SPXU is an ultra short. It rejected the roadmap line and looks like it's going down in a blaze of glory. That is a 3-wave move. Remember that thing I was saying earlier about the 3-wave correction thing? A, B, C. That indicates that the trend is down and we're going to see lower prices like 9. I got support coming up right here. 10, 71. 9 would be the target. Be careful. I mean, you could trade options and still lose money on that one. Leveraged cuts both ways. Please be careful. XSP is basically SPX just divided by 10. So I already covered that. And CEG. Just rewind back to what I said about SPX. Knock a decimal off and you got it. CEG coming up into resistance. Didn't retrace to the roadmap line yet. Watch for it to turn down strongly. Can it break out? Sure, it could. Where would be the next high? Well, 130 for the major support, but intermediately, maybe 115, 119. We're going to have a little trouble just pushing up through there without a bigger correction. Takes a lot of energy to keep pushing these higher without doing a correction. And Mora. Potential to go, but if Bitcoin doesn't turn bullish, this one's going to die. We need everything to come together. I mean, there's nothing update here. Like, it's sitting here just above the last line of support down here around 6. If we don't break that, I mean, if we break down below that, we're coming down here in this box. Down below that, it's down to 4. And then probably a lower low. Not awesome. Yeah, Jeffrey does have a lot of money tied up into Mora. So that's just the reality of the situation right now. It's just that got to keep waiting. BTBT holding up pretty well at the 0.618. It's kind of my favorite crypto pattern at the moment. Crypto related. If we hold right here and break out, that's going to be powerful. Move is probably going to be up to like 30. Right up there. Right up around 30. We hit that one. Did the retrace. The next target up there around 30. Alrighty, ALB, that one looks absolutely horrible. I think I covered that this morning. I mean, that's a dumpster fire of a chart right there. Dumpster fire. Jump sides. Dumpster fire. We're below the trend. We're below the support. We're below everything. Like, how low can she go? A lot lower. That's the answer. We're down at the 1272. Maybe come back up to the 100. That breakdown point, and then 139. And then possibly 110 and 100. So be careful on ALB, FNGU. This is leverage. Be careful on leverage. But we are moving right up to the resistance. I cover this like every day. Is it like the same people asking me? I should keep track of who's asking. I mean, this hasn't changed in days, weeks. Same thing. Resistance is right there. up to 196, 200-ish. Target 250, 283. Support is the roadmap line down here at 146. And if we break above this up here, it's like 70% likely we're going to get 252. That still leaves you 30% chance that it fails. So don't think it's like a lock, like, oh, 70%, oh, that's a lock. It's not a lock. 70%, 30% of the time still fails. All right. And I'm just, it's not like 70% of the time for FNGU. It's 70% of the time for this pattern. Like 7 out of 10 times when we break above this resistance, we go right on up to the 1272. At least 3 out of 10 times we don't. So, but remember, FNGU is leverage, 3x leverage. 3x leverage cuts both ways. Be careful. And there's no options. So, all right. NVDA. I want to draw something right here. If we hold below that 618 level right there, this is becoming a power move for moving lower. Please be careful. It's like the same thing I just drew on BTBT, but upside down. Can lead us down here to 360, possibly 333. And the roadmap line right there. So, power move. All right. SOXL. Potentially turning back above the roadmap line. It's still got a ways to go to get above this up here. SOXX looks better than SOXL, but it still has resistance way up here. This is the aggressive entry right there. Most aggressively. Now, when I say aggressive entry, that means like 50% of the time we'll just go like you're probably like 45 to 50% right now for getting this target up here. From this point right here. Once we get up here, it becomes 70%. But right now, at this point, you're only like 45, you're less than 50% chance. That's why aggressive entry, conservative entry, for getting the target. All right. For those of you that wonder what that, when I talk about aggressive entries and conservative entries, here you're probably 50-50 or less. By the time you get up here, you're more like 70% likely. If you buy it right in here, it's still like 50-50, flip a coin. All right, that's why I say wait till it proves it to you. And then SOXL is the leverage version of this thing, 3x. So leverage cuts both ways. Be careful on leverage. Right there. It hit my target. Like I drew this target way back, whatever it was, April. Yeah, it was back here at April. We got above 1850. Boom, right up there at 27. Conservative target. We didn't get the aggressive target, which was up here at this point, before coming all the way back down to 1850. I am not on this any longer either, so I don't have a position right now. I don't think. Maybe I have one contract. I'm trying to remember. Anyway, moving on. ENSG. I don't know if my contract expired is the problem. I had one contract, but I don't know if it expired. ENSG is just chopping sideways. I don't know why people like this pattern, but yeah, it's got higher highs, but it's got a lot of volatility. It's a channel, I guess. But how long do you want to wait for it to do something? It's not even moving that big. I mean, the range is like 89 to 104. That's like $15. Find something better. There's plenty of better stuff. Plenty of better opportunity. I don't like that one. Just don't. SVXY, I'm long this one and up quite a bit. We're going higher high. It may take till, I mean, look, this is the opposite of this chart right here. as this VIX chart does this seasonality wise, this chart SVXY is going to do this seasonality wise. We may only get to there, but we could go up to 109. No, 101 kind of the target. A little optimistic on that one too. And once we get above, same pattern, same fib, same thing. Once we get above 90, it's like 70% likely to get to 97. And drops back down to like 40, 50% likely to get to 101. Kind of a coin flip. All right. That's SVXY. WBA, Walgreen Boots Alliance. That one has earnings this week, didn't it? Wasn't that on the earnings chart? Yes, it is. It is. So WBA. Come on. WBA. There we go. Earnings on Thursday. What are you betting on? Let me know in the chat. What are you betting on? Mark, what are you betting on? Anybody pipe up? What do you think? You're betting up? That's cool. Anybody else have an opinion on this chart? I mean, it looks pretty bad. Not gonna lie. This chart looks pretty horrible. We're down below the 1618. The next level of support 16. I mean, we'd be like, Walgreens can't go out of business, right? Heard that before. Silicon Valley Bank can't go out of business, right? Like just that correction up there. We haven't even got to the 1618 yet. 18. And dumpster fire. Be careful, Mark. Be careful. All right. It does not have to reverse here. In fact, that's not even a reversal pattern yet. So that's just a chop. And that was the lowest low. Yeah, higher low. Could it break higher? Maybe. I mean, I could see little baby. I mean, I could see the case for this right here. I can see your case, but don't get caught up in the little micro. Look at this. Zoom out to the weekly even. Look at this. All right. Look, we're below. I mean, that looks pretty bad. That wasn't a bullish move up either. I mean, yikes. That thing could correct this whole dang big move up. Golly. The IPOs aren't bullish. Remember that, like IPO bearish move. One giant move up. We're already below the 618. Yeah, be careful. Be careful, be careful. All right. Lowe's is just kind of chopping. like I said, Lowe's and Home Depot, like they mucked up a beautiful pattern. They really did. At this point, unfortunately, this looks like the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave target down here. Market's open. Target down there. Maybe like, why do you draw like that? Look, right here. Look where the 618 is. It's a classic. A, B, C, A equals C would be right there. Then we could go higher, but that looks like what we're going to do. Where'd my pattern go? A, the B, that's gonna be the C. And it's even got a little baby pattern. Yep. It's even the start to it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right down in there. All right. Unfortunately, Lowe's and Home Depot both look like crap. CRH. Well, there's one that doesn't look so bad. I'm not all bearish. Look, I mean, this one right here. Tried to break out today. Didn't quite make it. If it can, get a close above up here at 58, 59, 63, 66. Pretty good. It tried. It didn't quite do the bullish close today. Got a little red. Tried. Didn't make it. That's not the bullish candle I would want to see right now. But it may take it a couple days, then finally get the close up here, and then go. All right, QCOM. It's like a battle with Apple right here. Battle Royale with cheese. That's just kind of a watermelon seed squeeze, nasty, gnarly. Probably just gonna hang out around 110 for the possibly into next year. Could it break out? Sure, it could. Is it looking like it's going to? Not really. RTX has one of the worst chart patterns out of all the. Go watch Morning Monster from yesterday. I talked about all these war stocks, all the defense contractors. This one looks pretty horrible, and if I was going to bet on a chart, this would not be the one I bet on. Be careful on RTX. Look, that's a continuation lower pattern. Support down here, but can it go lower? Yeah, even in the face of war, it can keep on dropping the heck out. So be careful. MU. I don't have the list of from yesterday's Morning Monster. Otherwise, I go through it. This one, another one that looks a lot like the QCOM. Just see how it's chopping in this wedge bullcrap. That's not bullish. All right, it's not bearish either, but it's not bullish, and you can just hang out in this 66 area for months. The range is descending, you know, it's getting tighter. Eventually, it's gonna pop out, and it's gonna probably do something crazy. But I call it the watermelon seed squeeze. You know, you ever squeezed a watermelon seed? And only a few people I've ever met can do that with any kind of accuracy. Normally, it's like just shoots off anywhere. And that's what these stocks tend to do. When you squeeze them like that, sometimes they shoot up, sometimes they shoot down. Some people will tell you they know what it's going to do. A lot of people have no clue what they're talking about. All right. This is an unreliable pattern. I don't care what anybody says. I've followed these for a lot of years, and it's questionable. Did it enter it coming up, or did it enter it coming down? And it did another one of these right here. It popped up, and then it came right back down and started doing another one. That's one right into the next. And it's not even that far. Like, it's basically been in the same range for a long freaking time. I hate that pattern. Well, I dislike that pattern. Don't really hate it, but I dislike it. ACLS, right down to the roadmap line. Can this get bullish? That's the question. Questione. If we can get above the 185, we could go to 212, 228. We do have those highs that could be resistance. Looks pretty good. And yeah, looks pretty good. BWXT. Hey, if I say anything that you find remotely helpful, make sure you give me a thumbs up on the video. That's super helpful. Maybe, interacting with the video helps me. Whether it's a thumbs up, thumbs down, just share with somebody else. Click the share button, share it with somebody else. BWTXT looks like it might be getting played out. Be careful. We might get another one of these sharp corrections. We've had a couple of them not too long ago. This one, it was in December. This one was in June, May, June. We might get another one of those. All right. Might be another lightning retrace. I'm going to take it right back to the roadmap line. So be careful. That looks like I would be trying to protect my profits over expecting another large move up. All right. Yeah, Sears and JCPenney can't go out of business. Anybody look at the JCP chart? I mean, you can't even pull up Sears Roebuck anymore. But look at this. Ouch. They stopped trading. All right. Kmart can't go out of business. So guess what? I don't know where Kmart is anymore. Not around me. They're all like furniture stores now. Best Buy or Blood Bath Beyond, BBY. And that one, Pachow, out of business. Bankrupt, baby. Be careful. Maybe like Walgreens, they can't go out of business. They're doing so much business. Be careful. PS ratio 14. Net income negative $3 billion. I don't like that. They changed this thing. That's stupid. I like the funnel thing they had before. Sorry to keep harping on that. HQY looks like a giant choppy mess. Don't mess with choppy messes. I mean, it doesn't really have a chart pattern. I mean, look, that's for years we've just been going sideways. It's not even just out of COVID, I guess. It set the range from November 2018 to COVID low. 100 down to 35. I mean, it's a heck of a range, but that's a nothing pattern inside. Like lower high, higher low. It's just a giant squeeze thing. It's one of those giant watermelon seed squeeze things. You even tighten it down just a little bit more. It might hang out here till 2026. All right. Yeah. They're all spirit Halloweens. Exactly. Yeah, CVS. Charlie Victor Sierra. I mean, even CVS doesn't look awesome either. Got that. If anybody's been through the market roadmap training, CVS is the chart I used. Still drawn on here. And that one might be finding a bottom. I don't know. But at least they're making money, not losing billions of dollars. Price to sales 20.27. I mean, drugstore is not exactly the banging business for investing in. It's other stuff. So, anyway, cost has been in a giant squeeze, but it potentially has broken out. Having a lot of trouble getting through this resistance, though, right there. If we can get above that, potentially. Yeah, see, here's the range on this one. This squeeze. See how close it got right down near the end and then popped out, but it didn't go. It didn't, like, it just it's drifted up. Hit resistance right there, that prior high. If it can get above it, probably run right up here to like 737. If the market turns bullish on us, this could pop right up here. Out till next year, maybe 24, 25. Beautiful run on cost. All right. SWBI, that's now headquartered here. This is a monster chart. Let me show you something real quick. Guess who owns shares at SWBI? And this could be like 2027, 2028. I bought my shares at 10. We're at 13. We could go to 270, maybe 700. Yeah. That crazy. So that's a crazy chart. I don't usually show off the crazy charts, but that's a crazy chart. Huge potential. And they just moved here. Like, they're literally, their headquarters is like across the river in Maryville. Out by the airport for Knoxville. Moved down here from Massachusetts. There you go. That's I'm long SWBI. All right. There you go. There's 70 minutes awesome. Well, I mean, 30 minutes of requests, I probably got 30 minutes requests. I gabbed for a little bit before I did that. Anyway, I'll be live again tomorrow morning about 9:15 before the market even opens, talking about what's moving tomorrow. We got PPI coming in hot. So make sure you're subscribed. Come back and see me. Give me a thumbs up if I said anything that was remotely helpful to you today. I'd appreciate it. Thank you. And I'll see you in the morning. Make sure you subscribe. Bye for now. Have a great day. Great evening.